Good evening, everyone. Welcome to season five, episode number one of the P.W.P Sessions podcast. I am your host, Noel A. Figueroa. Today, my guest is Bethany Camille James, and I'm excited to get started with this conversation. Hey, Bethany, how are you today?
I'm doing really good. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Mine was great. Got to spend time with family, so that's definitely a blessing. How about you?
Yes, it was blessed. Lots of family, lots of food and presents. It was good.
Excellent, excellent. So, who is Bethany Camille James? How would you describe yourself or define yourself?
Um, First, as a poetess, I've been writing poems since I was a small child. I started with Easter speeches and church and of that nature, but over time it became more. Most of my poems were behind the scenes, little memos or in a notebook. I had a notebook, a composition book that I kept for several years that I would just practice writing about God. I would write about the Bible. I would write poems that were biblical and about life. And then I think when I got into my early 20s and life really started happening, I got a text relay going while I was working at Family Christian Bookstore before they closed. Just started texting little scriptures to my friends and sharing my writing online. And from there, it has really grown. And I'm so thankful to God for that.
Did you start writing when you began your faith journey, or was it before you started walking in your faith?
I think it began with my faith journey because without God, I'm not anything at all. Um, if it wasn't for those Easter speeches and Sunday school, vacation Bible school, I wouldn't be able to write as good as I do. And I also have to give tribute to my third grade teacher, Miss Wells. Um, she taught me about writing in a way that made me want to do good academically.
Excellent, excellent. Now, when you started writing, you mentioned you started writing about God. What were the various subjects that you tackled when you began writing?
Some of the subjects were just how to write rhyme schemes and to use wordplay in a way that talked about God. My first poem ever was called The Soul Experiment, and I was able to do that at church, and I got a lot of snaps, and people really understood the soul experiment. It wasn't just verses, it was like an actual poem. So before that point, it would just be me writing a verse down and trying to practice how to make a rhyme. But after doing the soul experiment for the first time, I was able to do a full-fledged poem about what it means to check yourself, have a self evaluation. Am I really right with God or not? Without using the Bible scriptures, like a poem that's wordplay and creative in my own words.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent. Now, what is your motivation to write? What motivates you?
What motivates me to write poetry is the love I have for reading and writing. I would
Mhm.
say those are my hobbies. I love to read, but I think writing is just as strong as something I love to do. And those are my motivations to do poetry, is to express myself and to really have a place um, in life where I can be creative. I really enjoy um, being able to express myself.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent. Now, would you say your writing is part of your purpose in God? Do you feel that your writing is part of your God-given purpose? And if so, when did you make that discovery or connection?
I do think writing is tied into my faith in God and my purpose that God has given me. And I decided that more in my early 20s. I'm 32 now. And um, I think going through some of the things I've had to go through, writing has always been just that staple. It's just been something that is a rock and a foundation in my life. I can always turn to my notebook, but now I write in the open. I get opportunities to share my writing in ways I never thought I could, like in church or um, online or at events. And that really is something I never thought God would do for me.
Right, right. And how do you feel your writing has evolved from the time you started up until present day?
I think the evolution of my writing is it's more personal and
Mhm.
honest. Because a lot of times I would write generic things like stuff about verses or my things would be very dense with scripture because I came up in a Christian environment. But now my writing is more about how I feel and the things that I've experienced. And I feel that's truthful because I started off like a young girl, so I wouldn't really know nothing about life. And now I have more experience under my belt.
Right, right. And who or what would you say, um, who or what would you give credit to in terms of helping you to develop your skills as a writer?
My family, I would give credit to my dad, my mom, my grandma, my church. They've always had things for the young people to do. Um, Sometimes it's cool and all that to have a book, a poetry collection, and it's cool to have a little song on the side. But when you get to church, they want to see the young people do more. And at my church, the theme right now is unfinished business. So there's a lot of unfinished business with writing. Um, what are we doing as young people to reach other young people?
Right, right. Now, have you had any of your work published, or do you plan to have your work published?
Yes, I have had some of my work self-published, and I've done anthologies. I've done um, a lot of collabs. I've done some music as well. I have one song that's a poem turned to song, and a lot of people have told David Hawkins with Your Songmaker, he's an incredible artist because it's really hard to take poem and make it into a full-fledged custom song.
Right, right. That's true. That's true. For your self-published work, what was that process like for you to get published?
So I started off with a talent manager, and this guy's name was Cliff Adams, and he was like, basically with any like talent consult, what is it that you do? What makes you special? And I was like, I like to write and I like to do different things with spoken word. I've done stuff in the church, and that's pretty much my area of gifting. I don't do much. And he said, "Oh, do you rap? Do you do DJing? Do you do singing, dancing?" I said, "No, it's just the poetry." And he said, "You know what? I have an idea. What if you took that poetry and made a book?"
Mhm.
He said, because just because you are used to doing spoken word or stuff in the church, you don't have to limit yourself to one lane. You
Right.
can like branch out. So from there, he told me a company he wanted me to pay for to get with is called Book Baby. And I was like, that sounds cool. I'm gonna check it out. And I checked them out and they were decent. They had a good price and a nice package that came with it. And from there, February 2016 till now, I've been published. And with my song, I want to mention I tested the waters because of Cliff Adams. He was like, okay, maybe we can do some of your writing. You can submit it to see if it has commercial potential. So I submitted my song to a publishing company called Sun Music, and they liked it. And they were going to give me a publishing deal in 2016, but I was like, whoa, this is expensive. This is really high. So I ended up publishing later on when I
Oh,
had the money to pay for it.
right, right. Well, that's great that you had those opportunities. That's excellent. Um, do you have a preference in terms of self-publishing or the traditional route, or is it just a matter of what you prefer at the moment?
Um, I don't really desire to traditional publish only because I would love it, but it seems to me that there are people who are like really like known. I don't know. Okay, so I'll explain. If Michelle Obama was going to traditionally publish, I know I'm going to go out and get that book. If Barack Obama or Pastor Rick Warren
Right,
traditionally published, they will have their church behind them, their community, and they've really gotten to that level. So
right.
I I do one day what I would love to be traditionally published. I just don't think I'm at that place. But I do know I write pretty decent. So I said, this is a good idea. I'm going to traditionally publish not, but I'm going to self publish myself and get my work out there.
Yeah, that's definitely an option to consider, like when you're just starting out or if the traditional way is intimidating or time consuming or cost or if it's a matter of cost, that is definitely an option to consider. And also for the fact that you have greater control over who sees your work and the profits from the work. It just takes more work on your part to promote yourself, but in the end, it's still worth it because you're in control of how you present yourself, who your audience is, and you get more of the profits as opposed to the traditional way.
So you're saying that self publishing is definitely more profitable?
I would say so. There's potential for more profit because because when you're self-published, you're essentially cutting out the middleman, because you're bearing the burden of promoting yourself and deciding on, where the books go, who your audience is. You're making the majority of the decisions as opposed to the traditional route. So the majority of the profits will go to you directly, as opposed to when you're dealing with the publisher will get the majority of your book sales.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so there's really, one may be better than the other in that regard, but it's still a matter of personal preference. It's easier going the self-publishing route is easier than the traditional route. Even though the traditional route has its own benefits. So it's just a matter of what will work for you, at any particular time. So it's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. It's just a matter of which one you feel is better for you. But they're both options to aspire to.
Yeah.
Who would you say are the poets that inspire you?
Um, One of the poets that really inspire me is Jill Scott because I feel she can really do a lot with her writing style. And I don't know, I just feel standing there and doing live performances is a bigger beast than just doing it at your church or at your home or even just writing poetry for school or something. It's just a different monster.
Right.
So I feel a lot of respect for poets that get up there and can really do spoken word all over and have events and stuff like that. I think that's
Right.
really, really, really dope. Um, there's another poet locally that I'm in her group on Facebook. It's called the Harvest Society.
Mhm.
Um, her name is Rebecca Dupez, and she is another Jill Scott that's emerging, but her poetry is very connected to the culture that I'm in. Um, as a young Black woman in America, I kind of can relate to her poetry.
Right.
Um, and the Harvest Society, she does it twice a year where we'll come together and we'll do writing prompts, which is really a lot of sacrifice on her end because we can learn so much from doing those writing prompts and getting feedback. I think the group has like 600 people in it.
Oh wow, that's excellent. Now, what has been the reaction to your work? Like, what kinds of comments or reactions have you received about your work?
Um, my work, it's definitely during the process, I have been told that my writing is very creative and um, it comes from a place of lived experience. I have also known during the development of some of the um, things that I present to the world, like my custom song by your song maker, David Hawkins, or my book baby ebook that ended up being a collection. I have been told that it's creative and a mixed bag. A lot of people like that I talked about different elements of my personal experience, like sports, recipes, romance. All these elements were in the poetry collection.
Mhm.
And inspiration wise, a lot of people say I'm very creative. Um, I have I haven't really gotten like bad reviews. I think the lowest review I got on Goodreads was a 3. And she said she's sorry that was the grammar teacher in her. She said with poetry, even like writing a novel, she wants it to have good grammar. But she said overall, good job. So most of my reviews, I think I have a couple hundred people have said they like it. And that to me means something because it took hard work and a lot of courage to get out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree that you got to and when you as a writer or a poet, it's important to write from the heart and just focus on who your poetry does connect with, because at the end of the day, you're not going to reach everybody, but you're going to reach somebody. So you just you take the good with the bad. You go in it knowing that not everybody's going to like your work, and that's okay. The main thing is that you focus on writing from your heart, writing from your personal experiences, and then you when you write, you know from that place, the people that are meant to connect with your work will gravitate to you.
Yeah, I feel I come from a heartfelt place with most of my poems. I definitely like how you put that. I definitely like that.
If you could collaborate with any poet, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
I know he's not a poet, but I would love to collaborate with Kurt Franklin just because his energy is so dope and his songwriting is so strong. I just feel that it would be cool he if he ever wrote something like he did an anthology or if he let someone win a chance to meet him and work with him and maybe write something, like not a song. I would hesitate to say a song because he's that known, but I would say Kurt Franklin.
Right, right. Excellent, excellent. Do you have one subject that you like writing about more than others, or do you or is it just a matter of you write whatever you're inspired by at the moment?
I would say I'm not too spontaneous. I'm pretty punny. I'm not funny. So I like puns. They just make me laugh. So my writing is about real things in my life. So I have actually being around great writers, even if they're anonymous, learned how to branch out of that. But most of the time it's just real life stuff I've been through.
Right, right. And how important is it to you to make sure that you're ensure to make sure that you're ensuring that you're representing yourself in your totality through your work? You know, everything that makes you who you are. How important is it to you that when you're like whether somebody reads your work or whether you're performing your work, how important is it to you to make sure that, you know, when your work is being presented, that you're representing your total yourself in your fullness?
Um, it's really important to me to be true to God, to myself, to my values, to my family. It's really important to me because those are the people that support me the most. And I know no matter what, that they have been here for me through the ups and downs, through the mistakes and the good days and the bad days. So it's really important to me to honor those things.
Excellent, excellent. Now at this time, you know, you are welcome to share some of your poetry. You have time to share up to five poems. You don't have to do five, but you'll have time to do five poems if you choose. So at this time, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm really thankful for this opportunity with Poets with Purpose. I'm just going to read some of my poetry, just five poems that I have here prepared. Um, this is one of my poems that I wrote and I put on social media on my writer's page, my master's ministry. And it's just a page that shows my purpose, which is being a poet. And it's called Fragility: the humanity of being alive. The human frame is susceptible and often tested. The strength of striving and our bodies thrive. The life is fragile and rented. I feel hopeful that disease and peril may not overcome me. Yet, even with my best efforts, one day shall be demise. Trouble tests the human spirits and comes to oversee. My body becomes minimalized with age and leaves me mesmerized. My ultimate destination is my prize. Therefore, I am full of optimism in my weakness. It is a sad thing when someone dies, yet the hope of glory fills the bleakness. And I wrote that in 2020, Poetess Bethany Camille James. Now, this poem is my favorite poem other than the soul experiment. This is my favorite poem I ever wrote. And this is in my book, Abstinence, Still I Wait. This is in the rhyme scheme of Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. You may tempt me throughout my days with your cruel, tantalizing ways. You may manipulate me into sensuality, but still, through spirituality, always. Does my purity vex you? Why are you so hostile with me? 'Cause I achieve freedom to choose. My head is held high and I am set free. Just like a female tiger hunting its prey with the instinct to feed her mate. Just like the hunter watches prey migrate. Still, always. Do you want to see me falter? Sexually used up and unsettled? Body shattered like broken glass, temple withered by my demise. Does my lifestyle oppose you? Don't you take it to heart, 'cause I exist happier than you do without showing off my parts. You may seduce me with your influence. You may mesmerize me with your flashiness. But still, like true love, I'll wait. Does my temperance plague you? Does it catch you off guard that I'm actually made of jewels and my worth can be seen as avant garde? Out of the depths of societal norms, I wait. Up from a sex driven standard or form, I wait. I'm a priceless stained glass, glittering in good shape, steadfast and unmovable. I am beyond the world's rate, shimmering above in place, not ordinary or safe. I wait. Allow me to be heavenly minded. I am the goal for those striving. I wait, I wait, I wait. And I wrote that in 2016. Um, thank you. Um, okay. I'm gonna do another poem here. This is called Blinded. And I want to give special thanks to Jadia and Gray Thoughts and God Sounds for Abstinence Still I Wait. They helped me with it. Blinded. This is something I never published. I stared at the ocean, yet my eyes did not see it. Realization hit me within the commotion. I was staring, yet the image did not process or transmit. Realization hit me within the commotion. Familiar sounds and robust emotions. I stared at the ocean. The image became clear and the sunlight waters came into focus. I stared at the ocean. The waters were visible, but my eyes had deceived me. Realization hits me within the commotion. Pain covers my eyes. Yet sunlight beckons and disagrees. I stare at the ocean. Realization hits me within the commotion. Okay. And then I'm going to do two more that I like. Thank you. Hold on. Let me see what I got. So this will be the last one because a little long. You know what? I kind of wanted to do another one, but maybe next time. This one is called Dear Year 32. And this was a poem that was a 20 stanza celebration poem for International Day of Persons with Disabilities. And this was to help people have a spirit of hope. And I'm going to start. I owed to you. The glass is truly half full and overflowing with new mercies too. I owe to everybody made brave, every mind that learned to rise, every heart that beat despite the weight of uninvited compromised skies. Today we celebrate motion and stillness, vision in what the world once called dark, brilliance blooming in difference, a global unextinguishable spark. Strength is not always loud or fast. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it waits, sometimes it crawls past yesterday and arrives quietly at destiny's gates. We honor the hands that trembled yet build, the voices that stuttered yet sing, the legs that rest yet still traveled far on the wings of determined dreams. We hope that souls that learn new routes when the road was never fair would map success with scarred hands and persistent prayer. Disability is not a deficit of worth. It is diversity in divine design, a different rhyme of earth and breath, marching to a scarce time. You are not broken mathematics. You are complex, whole, and rare. Proof that perfection is wide enough to hold every kind of air. Some climb stairs that worlds forgot to build. Some study letters that worlds blurs thin. Yet wisdom still walks through altered gates and lets heaven in. We honor the caregivers, the advocates, the quiet warriors too, who lift when lifting is invisible and love was the task feels and felt to do. Accessibility is not charity. It is justice learning to stand. It is equity opening wide the door with an intentional hand. Let every ramp be rapture, every caption a scarce text, every policy a public promise to do better next. We are done with inspiration as pity and miracles as mere survival. Now we celebrate full inclusion as revival. Your joy is not a lesson for the able. Your life is not here to perform. You are here because you belong to earth in your truest form. Some of you dance in wheelchairs. Some of you run in thoughts. Some of you speak through blinking lights with tongues who never have taught. And still the university listens. Still, the universe listens. Still, the stars lean low. Still, destiny bends to meet you wherever you go. Dear year 32, we rise wiser now, less impressed with surface and speed, more devoted to making space for every human need.
Oh, wow. Excellent, excellent work. Excellent work. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Poetry Selections by Bethany Camille James. That was excellent. Thank you so much for sharing those pieces.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to share some of my writing. Some of it I don't publish, I just write free form.
Right, right. Well, it's definitely excellent work. Definitely excellent work. I appreciate you taking the time to share it.
Thank you.
What do you hope to accomplish with your work? Like what is your intended goal with your poetry?
My main goal with my poetry is to honor God, number one, because without Him, I wouldn't know who I was. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know who can be reached. A lot of times I want to give Him credit because He plants and He waters the seed. We just are good stewards. Number two, if I could do anything, I would be like Rebecca, just helping others have motivation to write. And right now, the third thing is I'm in a course called journal therapy.
Mhm.
So I'm learning how to um, be a coach that helps people express themselves through journaling. And that's how I started.
Oh, that's all excellent. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. Do you have any projects and or events that you would like to mention to our audience?
Yes. So I'm in a 18 book giveaway for free. One winner will get all 18 ebooks, and we all have book funnels. So we prepared for this. And if you tag another page, like a friend that writes, then you can be in the running for the books. And it's nice because who doesn't like free stuff? So, and I'm also going to be doing a sponsorship and event through Poetryware. We are a poet brand of merch that's street style. I made the merch for them, and this is our very first event.
That's excellent. Excellent. Well, it was an awesome conversation, and I definitely enjoyed your poetry, and I'm sure our audience has as well. Where can you be found on social media?
Um, you can look at my Instagram, right? The vision boards with an S, or my link tree, the big game poetry collection.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, it was a definite pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for this great conversation. Thank you for sharing your poetry. I wish you all the best in your upcoming and your future endeavors. All the best to you. You have a good night and God bless. Thank you.
God bless. Bye.
Bye bye.